gold, Bitcoin, and now even the Nasdaq are all signaling risk off. But if you're shorting the lows here, that could be the wrong move. And I'm going to show you why in this video, along with the areas that I'm watching. So if you're at all confused about these markets with everything going on with Iran and Trump and everything else, then this video is for you, because by the end of this video, all three of these markets, gold, Bitcoin, and the Nasdaq, are all going to be crystal clear, because really structurally, these markets are very, very clean right now. So my name is Justin Bennett, full-time trader and founder of Daily Price Action. As always, all of this is my opinion only and not financial advice. So let's get into it here with gold 4-hour time frame. Now, this is a hot topic right now. Everybody's looking for where gold is going, what's going to be the bottom, just because we have had a macro uptrend for a very long time. And we've also had a very sharp pullback now in 2026. So looking at this here, let's start on the 4-hour time frame, because I want to recap what I just talked about on gold yesterday. Okay, so what we talked about there was the potential for the market to move up here into this imbalance, possibly up here in this area, before looking for shorts. Now, I want to be clear, this up here the entire time, okay, really all of 2026, I have been bearish on gold. So it's not to say I was wrong. Again, I was looking for this area down here, 4,100. In fact, 4,160 was my target when the market was up here in this area. The issue now for gold, though, is if you're looking for shorts, it's just been difficult because we really haven't had much of a pullback on this price leg. Now, yesterday, though, on Wednesday, we did see gold actually close below this low back here. So really no bounce to speak of. And that really just goes to show how weak gold is right now. You see the low back here. We saw really no bounce here. The market just cut right through it, closed below, and now that's serving as resistance here on Thursday. So 4,100 is going to be the resistance level right now for gold. However, the one thing I have to caution you on is if you look here at this trend, I mean, anytime you see a trend like this, and you're looking for shorts down here, obviously you've got to be careful. I think that, in my opinion, not financial advice, I think if you're short gold and you have been short gold, I think now is probably a good time to just hold, because there's really nothing here telling you that even a local bottom is in. I mean, right now gold does look bearish closing below that low. And we also have this area around 38.95. So let's talk about this here for a second, because this really, for me, is going to be the next target for gold. Now, I'm going to show you here in a second the area that I would also keep an eye on for gold as far as the upside that could be capped over the coming days. But this pivot right back here, 38.95, is going to be the one to watch. So this is going to be the next support level here for gold. You can see back in 2025, we did see gold kind of ping pong back and forth between this level. Okay, so this down here, if you look at this here, 38.95 is down here. We are currently trading here. This is now resistance. You can see gold is having trouble getting back above it today. Okay, now, like I said, though, we are technically, I'm not going to say we're at the low because we don't know that. There's nothing structurally here to say that we are even at a local bottom, but you can see after this kind of move, we are trading at kind of an extreme here. So the upside here that could be capped for gold, you'll notice that we had this descending channel back here. So notice we have the high here, we have this high, and we have all of these lows. So this move right here, this part of the move, this tells you that things went from being bearish to being even more bearish or weak here for gold. So this is important going forward, I think, because a couple of scenarios. One is if we see gold hold below 4,100 here, then we could get the push down here toward 38.95, in which case from here, we could see some relief back here toward this area. Okay, in which time that could be some relief here to short gold once again. Now, of course, we could also see gold from current levels come up here and tag this area as well. So what I'm going to say about this, just to kind of summarize, what I'm looking at here for gold, I think as far as the upside that could be capped following Wednesday's breakdown, you're looking at basically 4,100 up to about 4,200. Okay, so this is the area up here now that's going to be resistance. Obviously, anything above this would start to look a little bit more bearish, at least near term. And then this area down here, okay, 38.95 is going to be that first support level. So again, I think for gold right now, what we could see over the coming days, and this is just a hypothetical, it's not, I'm not forecasting this by any means. But one thing that we could see here is following this close below 4,100, we could just see this continue lower down here toward 38.95, in which case, like I said, given the importance of this level in 2025, we could see some relief here back here toward this region and then a continuation from there. Now, the reason I say a continuation from there is if we go out here to a daily time frame, let's take a look at this here, because right now what you'll notice is that we have this descending channel and we have all year. So in 2026, you can see we've got the highs back here, we've got the lows down here. And we often talk about this where markets love symmetry. This is why I love parallel channels. And what you'll notice is that we have the bottom of this channel down here. Now on its own, this means absolutely nothing. Okay, there's nothing that says we have to come down here and tag this level. However, when you look back here at this breakout that we saw back here in 2025, okay, what you'll notice is that when gold broke out of this was multiple months. I mean, this was a very long time. This was April all the way over here to August. So gold went sideways for months. And you can see a really clean level here across the highs. Now, this was a perfect example of an ascending triangle that broke out. We talked about this at the time. And what you'll notice though is on the breakout, we saw gold break above here very aggressively and never pull back. So this right here is displacement. We had a very inefficient move back here around 3,400, between 3,400 and 3,500, especially this part right here. What you'll notice is this part right here. Yes, we had pullbacks through here, but there was really no pullback to speak of here for days. And so in my opinion, you look at this here, right? This area around 34, 35, if we want to be specific, and you come over here and line this up with the bottom of this channel and things start to make a little bit more sense. Okay, so if this area, this inefficiency down here is going to be mitigated over the coming weeks, then it could line up with the bottom of this channel, okay? And if we look at this in terms of when that could happen, of course, I don't necessarily like looking at trying to time things down to the week or especially the day that it could happen, because it's just one more variable that you don't really need. But looking at this here, this could be early to mid-July, okay? So I do think that, if this trend continues, which right now there's no indication that or no signs that it's not going to continue, everything here points toward lower prices for gold. I do think this area down here is going to be the one to watch in July. Now from there, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself here. I don't want to forecast this. But from there, I would be watching for a bounce, clearly, right? We've got the bottom of this channel that's been intact now all year long. And also that breakout level that we just looked at from 2025. So this down here, if this hits, this is going to be a massive level to watch. So just to kind of summarize for gold, basically 4,100 to 4,200. This is the area I'd watch back here as resistance. You've got support coming in here at 38.95, followed by this area between 3,400 and 3,500. Okay, so let's move along here to Bitcoin BTC. Okay, so looking at this market here, and by the way, guys, if you want to see exactly how I trade SMC full time, then check out the link right here on the screen. That's going to give you a free SMC training that shows you how I trade. I hold nothing back. It's completely free. 2 hours of content that you will not find on YouTube. And if you don't see it here, check out the description of this video. So looking at Bitcoin here, we have the market obviously in a downtrend. It has been ever since October of last year. Okay, so we are off the highs significantly for Bitcoin. However, I don't think that we are done just yet. And in fact, I do have a short position on. This is in fact the only trade I have on right now from just above 80K. And this is not hindsight stuff. If we look here in Discord, this was the trade that I put on back on May 7th. Okay, so you can see the time, the date up here. This was the trade that I put on. I shared this in real time. So this was the idea based on this here. You can see that this was my entry, stop loss, and take profit. So this in particular is a 13R trade, meaning my reward is 13 times my risk. And it's one reason why I really just have this on right now, and I'm perfectly fine just leaving this on, not really rushing into anything else, because market conditions overall haven't really been all that great over the past few months. So I am short BTC, still short, haven't taken anything off from just above 80K back here. I've also been mentioning this on X. So on the X platform, I've been talking about the potential for this move from up here for weeks now. Okay, so there are a few reasons why I think that this move is not over just yet. First of all, if you look back here, what you'll notice at 44K is we have the displacement, okay, out of this range back here. We have the displacement. We came back here, mitigated a lot of this. However, there is still a very obvious inefficiency back here on this breakout, okay? So that is the very first factor here. If we go to a daily time frame and move back here, you'll see exactly what I mean, where we had a lot of displacement out of this range, okay, right here. And we came back, and again, we retested and mitigated a lot of this here. However, there is still a significant portion, really between like 49K all the way down to 44K, that is still an imbalance from that breakout, okay? So that's the very first thing. Now, this was my target before, I wanna be clear, this was my target before any of this right here that you see, okay? So when we look at this move, obviously we had an ascending channel back here. We had another ascending channel back here. And really, this was just a case of a bear flag, right? We had the flagpole, we had the market consolidate through here, we had the market move down. So if we treat this move right back here, the high here, down here to the low, if we treat this as a new flagpole, right? So flagpole here, we had the market flag, okay? And then this is now the new extension. So if we do that and we take this height over here and take that same height, measure from this high up here down here to a lower point in the market, look what you get right there around mid 44K or mid 40Ks. And that's exactly in line with my 44K target. Okay. So it doesn't mean that the market has to move down there, but in terms of an objective of this recent price action going all the way back here to January, really, then the target, the objective here does come in around mid 40Ks. Okay. So right around 44K. Now, like gold though, like I mentioned, I think if you're looking for shorts here, you've got to be careful because looking at this move, it has been very aggressive. We are seeing Bitcoin come off the lows. So, you know, shorting down here at this area, you are technically shorting low. It doesn't mean it can't work out, but I do think that that's risky. Now, looking at this though, in terms of, let's say a 4-hour time frame. Okay, so you can see that so far BTC has been very sideways so far in June. Okay, so we had the low back here, and I want to be clear too that there's nothing structural here as far as SMC goes that tells us that a bottom is in, even a local bottom, because really all of this here is just internal. Okay, so you look at the price action here, this is all just internal. There's nothing like this here, right, where you got the market giving you a change of character. Nothing at all like that. This is all just completely internal. So with that in mind though, what we could see here from BTC, the reason I have 65,777 marked off is because if we go to a weekly time frame, okay, this level is really interesting because on the weekly chart, what you'll notice is that back here, we had lows here. We had a closing price here, open, low, closing price, low. So there is a lot happening over here at right around 65,700 to 66K. We'll call it 66K for simplicity. So I think that if we were to see more relief here for BTC, this area around 66K is going to be really interesting to look for shorts. Now, as always, though, it will be key if we get up here, it'll be key to then watch for a change of character to confirm. Okay. So what you'll notice is on the hourly time frame, this is that weekly level. You can even see where this was a pivot back here. We had support here. We closed below resistance. Okay. So we also have, if you'll notice on this move below, 65,777, we've got this displacement right here that occurred. Okay, now we came back and we mitigated a lot of this, but we still have this area back here. So I think that in terms of an inefficiency to watch, if you're looking for shorts here, not financial advice, but looking at the 4-hour chart, you can see this region right back here. Okay, this is the area that I would watch up there around 66K for a potential short. Now, another thing too to keep in mind, we know that markets love symmetry. If this relief rally is going to continue, you can see off the lows down here, up here to the highs, you've got basically potentially another channel forming. Okay. So this, in my opinion, is just kind of resetting the chart a little bit. You've got shorts taking some profit down here, hence the bounce. I don't think, and really not even I don't think, there's nothing on this chart, like I said before, structurally that tells me the bottom is in. Okay. I think if anything, like I said, I think this area around 66K, if we see it, is an interesting area to look for shorts for that push down here toward the lows. And if you're like me, possibly targeting 44K over the coming weeks and months. Okay, and before we go on to guys, if you are looking for a place to trade crypto, to trade Bitcoin, then check out the link in the description below. I'm sharing my recommended broker that I've worked with now for years for trading crypto. And also with my link, you're gonna get up to $30,000 in bonuses when you deposit with them. All right, so let's go ahead and move on here to the Nasdaq. And this one is really, really interesting, guys. Obviously, the market has just been ripping higher. And to me, when I look at this, this is a blow off top. There's really no other way to explain this. But what I want to show you right now is what happened on Wednesday, because this was a critical moment for this uptrend. Because what you'll notice is that during this uptrend, okay, let's talk about this here, because during this uptrend, this entire time, all we've seen here is higher highs and higher lows. Okay, we've never come back and taken out a low. And that's significant because this entire time it told you that the rally was healthy, okay, was alive and well. Even back here, notice how we had this low form. Okay, so we had a BOS above here. We came back, we tested this level, we even wicked below it, but we never actually closed below this, okay? So all we did was come back here and test the low and then took off once again for a new BOS. Now, what happened on Wednesday though, is significant and in my opinion is a turning point. because what you'll notice is that back here, okay, we got the close below. So this is the first time that we're seeing the 4-hour time frame here close below a protected low. This is protected because this up here was a BOS. Now, you also have areas like this here as well. I get that, right? You could have said, well, this over here was the same thing. However, in my opinion, when you look at this, this is the much more convincing low here, just because really this is so shallow within this trend that you'd have to be careful, playing this here. I think that this is the much more convincing structural shift. And when you're looking at a trend like this too, you want something convincing. Okay, so with this change of character, in my opinion, this is signaling that this trend is potentially over. At least it's telling us that this trend is really weakening and we could get a pullback, okay? Now, in terms of shorting though, like I said with other markets, you've got to factor in that, look, we've done this, right? And if you're shorting down here, then you're technically shorting low. And one of my rules says that I can't do that. So to figure out where I'm looking for shorts, we come in here knowing that we now have an external high, we have an external low. So with this in mind, I have a modified fib. We've talked about this before. I've made videos on this before, but basically everything below the 50%, so right around 29.4, everything below this is going to be discount. This up here is premium. And the dark green area is OTE, or optimal trade entry. So my rule dictates that when we see a change of character like this, I have to short from premium. So I have to short above this line. Okay, so I cannot short down here. So in this case, what you'll notice too is that the optimal trade entry, look at this imbalance right back here, okay, above this high. Now, it doesn't mean that we have to come up here. We could just see the market come up here because we also have an imbalance on this candle as well. So really for me, guys, the way this, or the summary here for me with the Nasdaq is going to be this 50% line, 29,467 or so, okay? This is my line in the sand for where I have to short. If we see above here, then any low time frame change of character is going to be my signal to get short, okay? And that then could be the lower high here following this change of character. Now, look, this might not happen. We might not get up here. The market could just drop from current levels. And if it does, then I do nothing. A lot of trading, okay, a lot of good trading is going to be sitting around and really just doing nothing. And that's just how trading goes. Now, the reason I want to wait for this too is because the reward is worth it. And what I mean by that is if we look back here, okay, let's go to a daily time frame. And if we look back here at this low up here to this high, what you'll notice is from this low down here, we can also use our fibs in this way, okay? Because we know that this back here was also a break of structure above the highs. Okay, so again, external low down here, and now we have an external high up here following that 4-hour change of character. Okay, so if we measure from external low to external high, what you'll notice is that the 50% is here. However, notice where OTE is. Look at this displacement back here. Okay, look at this inefficiency. And furthermore too, you've got these recent highs. Now, when a market pulls back to highs though, it doesn't often, a lot of traders will look at this here and they'll mark off the exact highs and they try to buy right here. But what tends to happen, especially in this case where you see the market go sideways, right, for months, is you don't get the market bouncing from here. You might get an initial bounce, but the market will often pull back into this congestion, okay? Not just the highs, okay? And that's especially true too when you look at this inefficiency back here. Again, you've got this area here. Look at these candles, right? There was absolutely no pullback through here, okay? So when I see this right here, those previous highs, this down here around 25K would be my target, okay? So if we mark this off, and again, this is the reason why I'm okay waiting for this short, because I know that if it sets up, the reward is going to be well worth it. So you can see that we've got this area down here. If I'm shorting from up here in this area, okay, above this line here, then that right there, the risk reward is incredible. Okay, I mean, it's easily 7R or 8R, meaning my reward is 7 or 8 times my risk. So we'll see how this sets up, guys. I mean, again, we could just drop lower from current levels, but knowing that this is the Nasdaq, it's an indice, it's stocks, right? And the stock market has been ripping higher for so long. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we do see the market actually from this low down here, following this change of character, give us some relief here, come up here, tag this inefficiency, possibly this one up here around 30K, in which case I will be looking for a short, okay? Because a lot of times when you get this kind of momentum that we've seen now for months, this kind of a trend right? Once you do get that first initial change of character, typically, not always, but typically you do get the market giving you at least one last little relief rally to trap buyers before you get that rotation lower. It's pretty rare that you get this kind of bullish momentum. The market gives you the change of character and then it just does this, okay? It can happen, but a lot of times you will get the market consolidating up here following this kind of signal. I truly hope this video helped. If it did, keep it locked in here by subscribing to the channel, and also check out the video right here that I just made on liquidity, because this is going to explain everything in detail. If you've ever been confused about liquidity and why it moves markets, this video is going to explain everything. So trade well out there. Until next time, I will talk to you again tomorrow.